Hi everyone, welcome in. Thank you for joining me. My name is Marlene and I am with A Room to Bloom. So I decided to bring forth a message just now. I actually wasn't going to, and I picked up a book and opened it, and the message that was in the book was almost identical to something that I heard today on someone else's video. And this is how synchronicities work. So when a message is coming in multiple ways, right, there is a message here. So before I get into that, I thought I would start out with a couple of cards. They happen to be the Dream Home deck, but let's start with that, and then I'll get into what this message said. And it's about healing, right? It's about you've done the healing work, but it's like you look at something and then you still have these remnants that come up, right? So let's just go ahead and see what is coming up right now here that would be helpful for you. Okay, we have a magnifying glass, and this magnifying glass sits on a desk over a book. So I'm just going to show the image first, right? Looking for truth, revelation, and or becoming aware of something. There are hidden truths that are about to be magnified. Prepare to face them. Now this is, oh yeah, I have goosebumps. So telling of what this other message is. So I'm going to keep going here. Roller skating. Now this is really interesting. In the last week, I have run across roller skates. It was 2 or 3 times, and I haven't seen them in a long time, right? One of the sets of roller skates had pineapples on them. So another message, right? It says sealed happiness and release. Unlock sealed happiness and release the constraints of adulthood, right? Have some fun. One of the things that I notice on here is there are stars on those skates, right? So it's just like release whatever has been heavy, pardon me. And it's like that. Think about when people have been grieving or going through something, and then there's this thing that comes up where someone gets someone to chuckle a little or laugh a little bit, right? And then there's like this moment where it's like they just laugh, and there is this great release of whatever they've been moving through, right? Okay, what else do we have? We have tea set. So we have some macaroons tea, a teapot with a pink rose on it. It speaks about talk, discernment, and protection. Use discernment in talk and protect yourself from gossip. The last time I used this deck, this came up, right? So it is just being self-aware, really, is what it is. And when you're speaking to inspire others, not drag others down, right? Okay, what else do we have? We have the bedroom. Intimacy, courage, and embrace. Okay? Be brave to embrace intimacy and create a meaningful connection, right? That could even go with the other one that I'm going to read about. The next one is the blender. Disruption, chaos, and change. Your routine is about to be blended. The new mixture will surprise you. The new mixture will surprise you. Aware again that there are stars on the wall here, right? So we have stars. The other thing out the bedroom window, stars. So we have 3 cards with stars here. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this. So this other person that I listened to today was speaking about the fact of having it's like you've done the healing, right? You have healed, but it's like you look down, metaphorically speaking, at your body, if you will, and yet you still see a scar. So there's a part of you that thinks you aren't healed because there is still a scar of sort, right? um but you have healed. It's just a leftover mark. So when you think about warriors, right, that have gone through something, especially the wounded warrior who has gone through something, but they've come out the other side of it, right? And in the tarot deck, that is the Nine of Wands, where somebody has a bandage on their head and they're, just holding their own, but they're ready to keep moving on, right? So this comes from a book, 365 Daily Devotions, A Little God Time for Women. It doesn't have who the author is on this on it. But this is also really interesting. Rarely do I ever use a day book and actually go to the day that it is. Today happens to be Saturday, September 20th. I decided to open it to today, and it speaks on true healing. And when I read this, I was like, oh, wow, it says, examine your scars and recall the wounds that gave them to you. Depending upon the severity of the injury and how long ago it occurred, running a finger along the scar may bring back vivid memories of the pain you felt. You are healed, but also changed. Broken bones mend, but a limp or occasional twinge may remain. So might our fear. It can take a lifetime to fully trust our healing is complete, except for when God does the healing. When we ask God to remove old hurts, betrayals, and disappointments from our hearts, He removes them completely. O Lord, if you heal me, I will be truly healed. If you save me, I will be truly saved. My praises are for you alone. And that is Jeremiah 17:14. It may be painful, but explore your old heart wounds, the ones that never seem to entirely heal. Begin today the process of releasing them to God and claim the promise of His true healing. So interesting, right? So it's like you've done the work, but there's these things that remain. And sometimes it may not be something that is on the body, right? It can be an emotional scar. It can be what is considered a trigger. And even though you've done the healing, maybe something that used to trigger you tremendously in the past doesn't trigger you as much now. Or you can drive by a certain location or smell a certain scent and not get catapulted back to that event. You can still stay in the present moment and have this I remember and I have changed, but I am healed from this, right? I have grown, I have evolved, and I have chosen to not let this ruin my present moment either, right? And that's what forgiveness is about also. So I just wanted to share that. So we're going to go a little bit further. We're going to take, I don't think I've used this deck. It's a tarot deck, but let's just see what comes up under these cards of a magnifying glass. What messages do you have for the collective here under magnifying about truth, revelation, and awareness, where hidden truths are about to be magnified? Prepare to face them. Okay. The first one we have is a Knight of Cups. A Knight of Cups energy is a slower moving energy, and I just got goosebumps as I was reading that. The Knight of Cups is someone who is artistic. They may be romantic. Their attraction, tactful, could be about a proposal, an invitation of some sort. They're chivalrous. Chiv- it sounded like I said less, but uh, chivalrous is what I was trying to say. Charming, psychic, and coming in with grace, right? So we have this Knight of Cups energy that is coming, it's falling under the magnifying glass here, right? Truths that are about to be magnified, prepare to face them. Then under the roller skating, we have a Knight of Coins. This energy, it's different from the other night, but again, it's like someone is coming towards you, but this time with an offer of something that would be more practical. This person is artistic and creative and romantic, right? But the other one is someone who's more practical. They come with the pentacle, which is something of the earthly realm, right? So they are conservative, practical, hardworking, responsible, protective, defensive, persistent, stubborn, patient, loyal, and slower moving, right? Working to build something. Okay. What do we have here under the T set with talk, discernment, and protection? You guys, another night. 3 nights in a row. I've never had this happen. So this one is a Knight of Swords. Now the Knight of Swords is a fast moving energy in the deck, and they come rushing in, and the swords are about our thoughts, someone in their thoughts, and the swords can be sharp, right? So coming and going, they're talkative, which is interesting under the talk, discernment, and protection. Impulsive, impatient, they're focused, they're daring, they're witty, and they're blunt. So they're coming in aggressively, right? So use discernment in talk and protect yourself from gossip. So interesting that there are 3 nights in a row. Okay, under the bedroom, what do we have? Sorry, I was gonna say I might have 2 visitors coming in. Okay, so yeah, we do. We have the star. Okay, so here's one visitor. All right, here's the star card. Here, let me put them down here. And sorry, they got in the keyboard here. Okay, honey. All right, there we go. So the star card, this is about healing, right? It's Aquarius energy, and it speaks about a wish being granted. Contentment, spirituality, inspiration, altruistic, serenity, purpose, renewal, healing, hope, calm, and faith, right? So the star card, be brave to embrace intimacy and create a meaningful connection. All right, we're going to go ahead and take one more with the blender, honey. Okay, we have the 10 of Swords, which is so interesting because the 10 of Swords is like the situation. It's the idea that, someone feels like they're stabbed in the back. This says the final chapter, a dead end, a breakdown, a breakup, a divorce, a backstab, ruin, rock bottom, and failure. Now remember, it falls under the blender where it says disruption, chaos, and change. Your routine is about to be blended. The new mixture will surprise you, right? So this could be someone, in your energetic field here. All right, on the bottom of the deck, we have the 8 of Cups. So we have someone who is carrying a guitar. The 8 of Cups is someone who is walking away from a situation. Now, this is interesting that we had the Star card in here. So this could actually be someone like this Knight of Cups who's wanting to come in, who actually is, I don't know, in the limelight maybe, who is actually well known. And they're walking away from something, releasing what is no longer serving them, emotionally unfulfilled. Time to move on and to let go of a situation, right? I'm going to go another one further. We have the Four of Coins, which is the Four of Pentacles, where someone has been wanting to hold on to someone, right? Um, it also speaks of living an uncluttered life, minimalism, less is more. Oh, it's in reverse. So I just realized that. Release or evaluating priorities and releasing materialism. So this person could be doing that. What they are doing is walking away from something, stepping into minimalism, less is more. And then we have the moon, which speaks again of the subconscious mind, which is what the underneath part of the deck is. So this speaks about any blocked intuition, misconception, uncertainty, deception, ambiguity. Ambiguity. Oh my gosh, it's not coming out right. It's later for me. Dreams, anxiety, and illusion, right? The moon can feel like illusion. This is Pisces energy as well, right? Okay. But you know, I'm not going to look again, but I can't help it because I saw it. We have, after all this stuff, someone walking away from something, minimalizing their life, and there's something that is, you know, illusion, a dream or something. We have the Sun card, so I'm not going to look anymore at the bottom. But when I see it, it's like I was supposed to. Speaks of radiant energy, energy rush, happiness, freedom, optimism, positivity, warmth, vitality, success, truth, and it says yes, right? So if you have a question, yes is the answer. So it's like what's going on in the subconscious are these 4 cards here. All right, and then I'm just going to take one more. Here for the outcome, we have the World, which again is the end of a chapter. So interesting, because the Ten of Swords was the final chapter, but the end of the World says a final, end of a chapter, right? Where something has come to a completion. So it's like, because after the World card is the Fool card, which means a new beginning. So achievement, success, a sense of belonging, accomplishment, integration, wholeness, fulfillment, and travel, right? So, yeah, something has come to a successful completion. It's like here, it's like she's maybe not bowing, but it's kind of like she might be ending this show here, right? All right, let's see what else comes up here. I'm going to take a deck here called Wise, or cards from a deck called Wise and Witty, and we'll see what wants to come up. Flaunt your civility. So be civil when these hidden truths come out. A few years ago, while watching a TV series based on a Jane Austen novel, she was stuck in the moment about a civility that was exhibited in those days. Many of the introductions went on and on. It wasn't simply, hello, my name is Amelia, what's yours? The queries about the family, which included grandparents, cousins, and distant cousins, seemed to go on forever. Then the actual conversation began. Today, we hardly give ourselves a chance to say hello before we're off doing something else. Engaging in simple acts of civility is throughout the day allows us to slow down and to feel human, right? And that was definitely something that I did more of. And I still occasionally have to catch myself, just not rushing off to the next thing, right? Okay, be specific. So here we have a woman who is releasing a dove out of a window. When we feel stressed out, we tend to overgeneralize about our anxiety. We use phrases to make our problems feel global, such as, this always happens. Every time I have a day off, it rains and I can never get anything done. This is, of course, inaccurate information. The words always, every time, and never describe situations of endless suffering. There's no end and no beginning, and this leads to endless whining. So it's more of, instead of every time, it's, well, today, it's shifting how we think and how we speak, right? And what actions we take. So it would be more like I'm going to roll with whatever it is, right? So if it happens to rain today, it's simply a pivot of what you were going to do something else. And it's a choice, right? It is a choice how we look at our situation. Okay. The next one is snooze, don't lose. That falls under the talk and discernment and protection. Somewhere in the last 10 years or so, it's become fashionable to treat sleeping as an inconvenience. I've often heard adults talking about how they can't get to sleep, didn't sleep much, or don't need that much sleep. Often they report that they're on their computer for 2 or 3 hours in the morning. This type of mentality has been embraced by a culture bent on completing tasks, even to the expense of the physical and mental well-being. The body repairs itself in sleep mode. Dreams help our mental state, and resting helps us maintain a more youthful look. So if you want to look like a baggy-eyed, worn-out mess, stay up all night and get everything done. But remember, you probably won't live long enough to enjoy it, right? So take some time and rest. And don't let others take you down because you're resting and you are recharging. Okay, the next one is count to 10. We have the bedroom and the star here. So a teacher teaching. Our lives are filled with waiting. We may actually spend as much as 3 years waiting in line. Most of us fidget, talk on cell phones, or complain to anyone who will listen. What if we realized that we could simply be patient? Life is filled with moments that test the child within us who wants everything now. But now isn't always possible. Stop struggling with being where you are. You'll soon be someplace else. Don't wait. You don't want to live your life being neither here nor there. When we elicit patience, our body and mind stop struggling and gives us the inner calm we need to truly live life at its fullest. I did a video, I think it was a podcast close to a year ago. It was right before Black Friday, and it was talking about sustainable shopping. And it was kind of, I was speaking about that, like the kindness when we're in line and we're waiting, right? Like asking yourself, okay, why have I been slowed down in this moment? What am I supposed to see? Asking your angels and guides, asking God, what would you like for me to see in this moment while I'm waiting? What messages do you have for me while I'm here? And then tune in. Use your physical eyes. Use your ears, right? What do you smell? Are there things that are coming up that are triggering you, that are bringing up the memory? Well, we're talking about the scars and such, right? Or you can say, yeah, I can actually, like maybe even just that idea of Black Friday shopping brings up something for you that maybe used to be hard, but now you're like, okay, I can do this, or whatever that is, right? But ask yourself, why are you being encouraged to slow down? And part of that may simply be the test. Now, one thing I would like to point out is it's the only one that it really just stuck out to me, is that this card is green. There's something about your heart center, right? Something about your heart center. Tapping into your heart. So maybe it's talking to others, reaching out to others in line, right? Okay, what else do we have here? Everyday courage. And this falls under the blender with the disruption, the change and such, and then the 10 of Swords, where there's some situation. Everyday courage, and this gal has on a knight's uniform, okay? I've witnessed many courageous individuals throughout my career, people who have gone through major crises and tragedies and seem to be more in touch with the wonders of life than ever before. I wish to offer a different concept of the word courage. I believe it takes courage to be happy. Every day we're given the opportunity to be cowardly or courageous in the face of perennial irritations. Do you make things worse by blowing things out of proportion and falling into despair? Or do you do the truly courageous thing and say, "Oh well," and go on? Can you see the forest through the trees, or are you into the twigs, right? So are you getting hung up on the emotions? And that is what like this healing stuff is about, because when we are really letting our emotions kind of run us, like our emotions go one way and then the other way and then the other way, right? It takes a lot of energy for that. So when we start to step back and watch ourselves and how we are responding or reacting to situations, we can, and when we get alone, we can start to do the healing work, right? But again, here it's saying you've done the healing work. But remember, not everyone has. So you might see other people's emotions, but sometimes it's just a matter of giving them space to do that work, to find the balance within themselves, right? To get centered, to pull themselves back together again, right? That's a famous line in shows, movies, whatever. Pull yourself back together. I needed a moment to pull myself back together after someone cries or has a meltdown or whatever it was. People will use the word composure, gain their composure, right? Now, sometimes gaining composure might look like I'm just going to push this down further, right? And then later it comes up and it comes up, or it might not come up, or it'll come up because they didn't make the time to sit with themselves and heal. So it'll come up as a reaction versus a response. And so taking that time to do the shadow work, if you will, find out where the triggers are, allow yourself to feel your feelings and not stuff them, will be very helpful. And then I have one more thing that I wanted to do. I have this deck on meditation cards, and I'm going to just shuffle it and see what comes up. I'm not going to read the meditations. I'm just going to see what comes up that might be helpful for you here. Okay, well, this is a basic meditation, so this might be if you haven't ever meditated, right? So this might be the encouragement to start working on meditating for 10 to 20 minutes once a day. Okay, then the other words we have is abundance, right? Abundance here. With that magnifying glass, truth, revelation, and awareness, when a person meditates, often that's what will come in, right? Is truth, clarity, revelation. And so abundance falls under the Knight of Coins, right? The Knight of Coins. Okay, what else do we have? We have growth, and that falls under the Teapot, talk, discernment, and the Knight of Swords coming in, right? So growth taking place in a situation. We're going to go a little further. Creating a sanctuary. That's so interesting. Because it falls under the bedroom. And the bedroom, if you have a TV and your, all your electronics in there and your computing, it's like making a conscious choice to say, when I step into my bedroom or whatever place in your home or whatever, this is my sanctuary. This is where I reclaim my space, where I call back my fragmented self, where I set boundaries, right? Where I am at peace, where I do my healing work, whatever that is, right? So creating a sanctuary, that can be in different areas of your home, but ending your day without electronics, that type of thing, will help you sleep better. So just considering that. And then the last one is your ideal day. Visualize your ideal day. And that falls under, oh, that's really interesting because it falls under the one with the chaos, the 10 of Swords, and everyday courage. And that would take courage after having some chaos in your life, is to visualize your ideal day, not the ideal day that society says you should be doing, not the ideal day that it's ideal for them, for you to pick up the slack for whatever they're doing. Now, I'm not saying don't help others and this type of thing, but when you have been going through something, right? If you do not set boundaries to do the healing work yourself, right? To fill your own cup, your ideal day, to recharge your own battery, then you have nothing left to offer others. So it's essential to take care of yourself. So writing out, what does your ideal day look like? And yeah, it's interesting too, because I realized that the bedroom, because the star card had moved over, creating a sanctuary here with the star. So there could be someone who is feeling so overwhelmed, right? Pulled in a lot of different directions, right? And so it's, the idea is to create a sanctuary with that other person that was walking away from something, right? They were, let's see, walking away. Sorry, I thought I had 4 of these, but anyway, they were walking away from something. Okay, we're just going to leave it at that. Anyway, I want to say thanks for joining me. I hope you have a very good rest of the day. Take care. Bye.